Chapter 9 The Thick Mac. The doorbell rang and Luke answered it. It was a delivery guy. "Two thick Macs for, puke and glowy?" the delivery guy said. Luke stood there in silence. He was having a flashback to almost the very start of the audiobook. Luke realized he was in a meat factory for McDonald's. He didn't know the secret ingredient in the Thick Mac was people. Luke grabbed the delivery man by the shoulders. "You don't realize! The Thick Mac is made from people!" Luke shouted. The delivery guy gasped. "Really?" he spoke. Luke nodded grimly. The delivery man decided to team up with Luke and Chloe to stop McDonald's from this cannibalism stuff. "What's your name, delivery guy?" "I'm Hank Schneider." Hold on, someone messaged me. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. "What's your name, delivery guy?" Luke asked. "I'm Hank Schneider," he spoke. Luke, Hank, and Chloe went into the basement and set up plans. First, they would locate the meat factory by going back into the Upside Down and retracing Luke's steps. Second, they would take a bunch of photos and kill anyone who tried to stop them. Third, they would show them in court and take down Ronald McDonald for good. They strapped themselves with assault rifles and handguns and put on their most badass clothing. Luke wore a plain white shirt under a dark grey suit and tie, a bandolier like TF2 Heavy wore, his old Hitler pants, and a cowboy hat. Chloe wore a ripped shirt that kind of showed her cleavage and some black slacks. Hank just wore his work uniform because they didn't have any clothes his size. Luke went to the last place that he was when he left the Upside Down, the hospital. When he entered the hospital, he went into the room no one had ever went into. It was abandoned, but he knew where the portal was. The three went into it, entering the Upside Down. When Luke looked around, he felt a sense of nostalgia. It was 2 years since he was in here. They walked through the Upside Down, following Luke as he recalled where he went. Then they found the portal to the McDonald's meat factory, and they went through it. And where they were, watching dead bodies across conveyor belts, all becoming meat for the Thick Mac. Luke looked across the bodies. He saw George fall into a machine and crush it into sludge. Luke honestly felt bad. "Hey, intruders!" a security guard screamed. Alarm sounded and a bunch of other guards ran in. Luke loaded his rifle and Chloe turned off the safety on one of her handguns. A man wearing red walked in. He was wearing a helmet that covered his eyes. "Oh my god, it's Soldier," Luke said. The man blew a horn and an entire team of guards got charged with mini-crits. "Attack!" Soldier screamed. The guards came charging, running, and shooting. Chloe pulled the trigger, shooting several in the chest. Luke fired and spun, killing several who surrounded him. Soldier screamed, and more guards ran in. They were all strapped with all sorts of weaponry, from spears to machine guns. Hank pulled a pin on a grenade and threw it, killing 15 in one blow. One guard was suddenly all red, and none of the bullets shot at him were affecting him. He had been ubercharged by the medic. "Move now!" he screamed, and the guard ran straight to Luke. Luke swiftly jumped onto the guard's shoulders and backflipped onto the head of a vulnerable guard, killing him. He then cracked the neck of another guard and held him in front of Luke, using him as a human shield for the ubercharged guard, who eventually ran out of charge. Chloe punched him in the head and shot him dead. He helped Luke up, seeing hundreds of guards who kept on coming. Hank took a bullet right in the leg, which caused him to collapse. Chloe punched a medic, which caused him to drop his Crusader's crossbow. Chloe caught it and shot Hank. Shit, I just lost it. Chloe caught it and shot Hank, healing him quickly. He grabbed the medic's neck and held it so tightly that it snapped. All the dead bodies of the guards onto the conveyor belts, which caused the grinder to overload. It started smoking up and exploded, killing exactly 245. Chloe and Luke were severely injured, but Hank was far away from the explosion, so he was mostly fine. Chloe healed herself with the crossbow and healed up Luke. Soldier screamed loudly. All his men were dying to 3 nobodies, and none of them were played by Bob Odenkirk. That's another nobody. Nobody's seen that movie. I don't know why I wrote all this. Anyway, the final guard fell to the ground after his insides were completely ruined by bullets. Soldier climbed up to Chloe and Luke, loading his RPG. "You screwed up now! Time to inform your next of kin!" Soldier shouted, firing his RPG right at Luke. Luke quickly jumped out of the way as the rocket blew up the wall, caving in some of the building. He fired again, this time destroying the conveyor belts, which fell and almost crushed Chloe. Luke snuck up behind him and held onto him, causing Soldier to fire his RPG a third time, causing the roof to completely collapse. Luke and Chloe ran up and pushed Soldier onto the floor and quickly jumped out of the way. Soldier screamed as the roof fell on him, ultimately killing him. "Woohoo!" Luke screamed. "I'm gonna miss Thick Max. I know it was cannibalism and all, but at least they were good," Chloe said. "Wait, where's Hank?" Luke asked. They searched the rubble and found him under a fallen conveyor belt. "Hank! No!" Luke shouted. "My only regret was not trying the scary ride at Waterworld," Hank said as he died. A tear slipped down Luke's face. They only knew each other for less than a day, but he could have been a main character. A big boom came across the fallen factory. "Oh no," Chloe said. It was Ronald McDonald. "You fuckers destroyed my business!" Ronald screamed. He pulled out a gun and shot Chloe in the chest. "Fuck!" she screamed. Luke saw as she fell onto the ground. Something in Luke just snapped. He jumped and flew all the way to Ronald, punching him 682 times in the face. He was screaming something in Japanese. Ronald fell to the ground, bruised like hell. "I'm not done," Ronald said, dying. Then as he died, smoke particles surrounded him. It wasn't Ronald. It was the spy. "Oh no, oh no, 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 no," Luke said, realizing he still had to fight. Then he remembered Chloe. He ran towards her, and she was dead. "Chloe, no, please!" he screamed. But it was too late. From that day forth, Luke vowed to get revenge on Ronald McDonald for killing his best friend. But to do that, he would need some help from an old fiend. Luke walked into the nursing home. He was trying to find someone, and after seeing him in a wheelchair, he knew it was him. He was sitting in a wheelchair with a belt attached to it. It was his only form of communication as he was heavily disabled and unable to speak. It was Colonel Sanders. He was alive. Luke stood in front of him. Colonel looked up and started breathing heavily. His face became more and more angry as Luke began to speak. "I know you despise me, and I know how badly you want to see me dead. But I'm willing to bet that you know a man whom you hate even more," Luke said. Colonel stared at him, thinking. Chapter 10, The Breaking Bad Reference. The next day, Luke drove through California in his Challenger, eventually sat in his car parked at a cliff. Meanwhile, Colonel met up with one of his old enemies, Jack. Hungry Jack, that is. It had been decades, and Jack was still hungry. "What do you want, chicken man?" Actually, no, Hungry Jack is like Australian. "What do you want, chicken man?" Jack asked. Colonel rang his bell in Morse code to say that he needed to chat. He then started saying bad about Ronald McDonald. After that meeting, Jack called up Ronald, talking about all the things Colonel said to him. Ronald was furious. Back to Luke, he arranged a meeting of his own. "Ya want some of my bloody explosions, eh? I got ya. Stickies, pipes, whiskey. Actually, the booze is mine, not for sale. Buy your bloody own," the man said. "I'll take the stickies," Luke said, handing him $500. Luke left with 5 stickies, which he was planning to cause mayhem with. He drove back to the nursing home and met with Colonel. "Did you do it?" Luke asked. Colonel dinged yes. He then planted the stickies onto Colonel's wheelchair and hid right before Ronald arrived in the nursing home. Ronald entered the room with the Hamburglar standing as a bodyguard. Ronald began to speak. "What kind of man talks shit about me?" "No man. No man at all," he spoke. Colonel looked away from Ronald. Ronald leaned in really close.
"A crippled little chicken. What a reputation to leave behind,"
Ronald said. pulling out a needle full of poison that he was going to use to kill Colonel once and for all.
Is that how you want to be remembered?
He said, readying himself to kill the Colonel. Colonel still refused to look at him.
Last chance to look at me, Colonel.
He went to inject him, but stopped. Colonel was looking at him, right in the eyes. His face became angry, and he started to ring his bell. Ronald was confused, then realized the sticky bombs attached to his wheelchair. Ronald screamed mightily as the bombs blew up, blowing out the door. Ronald slowly walked out. Half of his face was missing. He fixed up his bow tie and fell to the ground. Colonel and Ronald were finally and indefinitely dead. Luke sat in his car listening to the radio. Good evening, I'm blah blah blah. Our top story, there was an explosion at the nursing home, killing 3 fast food restaurants. A sad day indeed, as KFC and McDonald's have now been closed for good. The McDonald's meat factory was heavily damaged in a shootout between 3 individuals and hundreds of guards. The shootout killed 334 guards, 2 civilians, and interestingly, sorry, can we start that one again? Can we just take it from the top? Okay, sorry. 2 video game characters. This shootout has also revealed the secret ingredient in Thick Macs was, unfortunately, human meat. Certainly not the best meat to serve your customers, but it's better than that pink sludge stuff, right? Luke turned off the radio and drove back to his house. Why is Nikki messaging me? Want to watch a new vid I made? I'm recording something right now. Sorry. Alright. Luke sat at his table, eating Doritos, thinking about Chloe. He had just murdered his number 1 enemy, but it didn't make it any better. He reached in his pocket and found his Frontier Justice that he stole from Engineer, no longer crit charged. Luke had an idea. He searched through his pockets and found his keyboard and went to the world main menu. He went through the holes and found Jesus, making some guy in Yemen pick his crops. Oh, hey, Luke, how are you? Jesus asked. I need you to bring someone back from heaven, Luke said. No, I'm not bringing Joseph Stalin back for the last time, Jesus said. No, I want you to bring back my friend Chloe. She was my best friend. Best friend? Yeah, right. Yeah, I got you, Jesus said, and Luke rolled his eyes. Jesus cast a spell. Jesus cast a spell as Luke went back to his house. He drove to a graveyard where they buried her and dug her up. He opened the coffin, and there he was. Thank God you're here. It smells like shit, Chloe said. Luke helped her up, and the two hugged. I missed you, Luke said. Really? Gay, Chloe joked, and Luke smirked. What was it like being dead? Luke asked. You know that show, The Good Place? It's real, all of it. The two drove home while they watched The Good Place. Then there was a fire for some reason. The fire department came to put it out, but the fire still took out a large amount of the building, especially Chloe's room. A firefighter walked up to them. Hey, you two should probably stay at a hotel or something until this is... This is not supposed to be Jamaican. Yo, man, you two should probably stay at a hotel or somewhere until this is repaired, he spoke. Luke looked at him. I know you, Luke said. The firefighter looked at him, recognizing him too. Luke, he spoke. Kanye West, Luke said. Luke threw a punch at Kanye, which made him fall over. You destroyed my house, Luke shouted. Man, it wasn't me, fool, Kanye shouted. You ordered it, Luke shouted back. Other firefighters ran up and helped Kanye. Luke pulled out a gun. I've killed hundreds of people, but this one will be the best one, he said as he fired. And Kanye West died. How many dead presidents? 5 now. Obama, Kanye West, Biden, McPedo, Trump, Luke said. Killing the rest of the firefighters is to not leave witnesses. Later that day, Luke was watching TV after not doing. That's what it said. Why is Fortnite yelling at me now? Hey, what's on the news? Chloe asked. Well, there was this guy that got arrested for sucking his own nuts, Luke said. Chloe took out a gun and shot Luke, but he didn't die. He glitched away. I knew it! Nutsuckers never go out in public, Chloe said. She took out a hammer and smashed the floor and fell into a lab. She was in a simulation, and she knew it from the beginning. She ran through the lab, dodging bullets and projectiles from scientists. Chloe had to escape the lab she was in, but she didn't know how. She was suddenly stopped by some scientist. Chloe, I'm Dr. Fuck, he said before Chloe punched him in the stomach. She had no time for this shit. She had a massage for $3 and she paid $8 for it. She stole a couple guns and shot a hole into the wall into the vent system. Soon she found the outside world, where she looked around. She was not in California. Chloe decided to pull out a gun and shoot herself. She was back in her bed, safe and sound. I had written a way for an actual way that Chloe would escape the simulation, but I lost it. Home sweet home. This is filler, by the way. I like chapters to be at least 5 paragraphs. I kinda fucked up by making chapter 20 short as hell, but it was cool though. Except that's not how this works anymore. I changed the chapter sizes to make more sense. I'm just making shit up at this point. This is all filler. Hey Luke, I need filler. You know what that means, Chloe said. Luke looked out and pressed a button on the wall, which activated filler mode on the house, which stands for fucking isotopes let loose on the electricity which madly reacts on Dick East. When it activated, alarm sounded. The isotopes were added to the electricity, which reacted madly on Dick East, which kind of sounds like a street name. Anyway, Chloe saw Luke on his Xbox 5232. How'd you get that? I thought it was destroyed by that rebel guy, Maverick, when you were president, Chloe asked. I traveled back in time and grabbed it, Luke said happily. What? Where'd you get a time machine? That guy, Luke said, pointing. Chloe looked over. Hello. It was the Doctor. The David Tennant one, because that was where I was up to at the show at this point of writing. Holy shit! It's the Doctor from Doctor Who! She was so excited about it, but there was one thing she wanted to see. Where is it? She asked the Doctor. Oh, this? He said, pulling out the sonic screwdriver. No, actually, let me see that, Chloe said. The Doctor passed it to her. Whoa, she said, trying it out. How does it work? It's a plot device. It progresses the plot, he spoke. Chloe looked at him for a second. But seriously, where is it? That was gross. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's in the kitchen. Chloe raced to the kitchen. Oh my fucking god, she shouted. There it was, the TARDIS. Its rectangular prism shape, its phone that doesn't work except for that one episode, the weird light thing on the top. It was here, and it was beautiful. She gripped the door handle and slowly opened it. It was real, the interior of the TARDIS. It was bigger on the inside. She stepped inside and looked around. Oh my god, she said. She pulled a lever and suddenly it shook. Then a teleporting noise was heard. The Doctor quickly rushed to the kitchen, but it was too late. Fuck! He screamed. I mean, that's not what it says. It says, no! But it was too late. The TARDIS was gone. Chapter 11, Timey-wimey. The Doctor swore loud. It says the Doctor swore loudly. Luke rushed in. Shit, he spoke. Where is she? She asked. She goes wherever the TARDIS thinks she wants to go. I think they said that in one of the episodes. Why do I sound like Matt Smith, Doctor? What are we going to do? Luke asked. I don't know. Wait. I have an idea, Luke said. The Doctor looked up. I don't know if you've realized, but our entire existence is inside this audiobook. And if we can figure out how to jump between audiobooks, we could end up in a previous story. Yes, it's perfect, the Doctor shouted. He reached for his sonic screwdriver, but it wasn't there. Damn, I gave the bloody sonic screwdriver to Chloe, didn't I? Oh well, get me a hammer, the Doctor said, while Luke grabbed a hammer and smashed the floor. It exploded, leading into a strange place. Luke and the Doctor jumped down. They landed on the desktop of a laptop. Whoa, Luke said. The Doctor opened up the documents folder and opened up the first one was there. He tore a hole and looked up. He was in Mexico. He crossed his head and went back down. The Doctor went into the next document. He looked into it where a man with a goatee and a bald man were talking by a bush. Who the hell are you? The bald man shouted. The Doctor left and went to the next document. There were 2 men who looked like stick figures. What's the password, yola yada? One spoke. The Doctor left. This is all like story. I didn't really explain this, but this is all stories that I had written when I was like there were just documents on my computer when I was written this. But yeah. After about 200 documents with schoolwork, weird stories, and scripts for sketches, he found a story about ice cream. I found it. The Paul Jennings ripoff, Luke said. It was something I wrote. He opened up a tub of the smart ice cream and ate half of it. The doctor didn't bother. Try some, Luke said. I know how the story ends. The smart person ate the smart ice cream and became really dumb, the doctor said. Well, the Paul Jennings version, sure, but this one's different, Luke said, pulling out a spoon. The doctor looked at him, but realized he was right, considering he just ate half a vat of modified ice cream without second-guessing it. Only the smartest of dumbasses would do something that dumb. The doctor took a deep breath and took a huge gulp of the smart ice cream. How's it taste? Luke asked. Shit, the doctor said. Suddenly, a school bell rang, and kids piled out of the school a few blocks away. Oh shit, we gotta get out of here, Luke said. Now, it's not like we'll be here forever. Why don't we make a quick buck? The doctor said. Luke was hesitant, but he agreed. They sold the smart ice cream to the children, and by the next day they'd made $500. Woohoo! All right, Doctor, maybe this wasn't such a bad idea, Luke said, counting the money. Well, we're not out of stock yet, the doctor said. Luke just looked at him. You're kidding, right? I mean, we're not even from this universe. We just found this truck on the street, Luke said. The doctor laughed. I know the ingredients. It's very easy to make. We just need vanilla ice cream, food coloring, 500 milligrams of expensive alien vitamins, 4 kilograms of depleted uranium, and a motherboard from a Dell Latitude. It's simple, the doctor said. What about Chloe? She could be dead, Luke shouted. The bell rang and the kids made a line to the truck. Like, come on. She's stuck on your time machine. Step right up. By the way, I've changed the price to $6 instead of $3. Sorry for the small change, the doctor said. Luke looked at him again. The smart ice cream just made him greedy. Luke stepped out of the truck and went for a walk. After about 20 minutes, he found a point where the world just stopped. What the? Luke said. The story wasn't finished, and they weren't from around here. They had to get out. Luke ran to the truck, where a huge crowd surrounded it. There was no use. He wouldn't get to him. Luke ran to the hole where he came out of and searched for a document that could help him. Then he found it, an old version of his story. He ran in and saw a much younger Luke. Change your pants, there's a swastika on them, he spoke. The younger Luke looked at his pants. Older Luke ran to a gun shop and stole all the guns. He then jumped into the hole and ran back to the ice cream story. It had been about 30 years, and the doctor had a giant skyscraper with his brand. Smarties. Oh God, Luke said. He ran into his office. Luke, it has been a while, friend, the doctor said. You need to stop this. This isn't your story. We're all going to corrupt and die, Luke said. Look at me. Why would I leave? I'm the richest man in America. Jeff Bezos bows to me, the doctor said. Bezos doesn't even exist. There's nothing past like 10 blocks. It's that damn smart ice cream. You were already smart, so it just made you greedy. You must stop this, Luke shouted. Security! The doctor shouted. Luke pulled out a shotgun and shot both security guards. The doctor scowled. You want to be like this? Sure, all right. Give me a moment, the doctor said. He walked off into a new room and came back with a new TARDIS. What? Luke said. Take it. I've rebuilt the TARDIS. Fully operational. Just like the old one. She'll know where to go. I input the history of the old TARDIS into this one. Just go. Leave me be, the doctor said, sitting back on his rich person sofa. Luke sighed. You don't understand. This story was written a long time ago and was never finished. And with outside characters being in unfinished stories, one wrong move and you'll corrupt the world and you will die. You hear me? He spoke. The doctor looked at Luke. I've been here for 30 years and look at this world thriving. So what if it's unfinished? I'm gonna live forever. Bitch! He shouted. Suddenly everything shook. Luke ran to the window where the roads in the town were turning into a black void. I think you just tripped it, Luke said. The doctor ran to the window. Oh, I think so too, the doctor said quietly. TARDIS now! The doctor shouted. They both ran back to the TARDIS while Luke shut the door. The doctor ran to the lever and pulled it with a mighty thwack. As the black void crawled into the 8-story tower, the TARDIS dematerialized and vanished. Just as the TARDIS disappeared, the room was swallowed by the black void. There was nothing of the story now. It was gone forever. You know, I hadn't intended this, but I think I lost this document, like, that this whole thing is based on. So, like, it is actually gone. Like, that's canon. It's actually lost media. That's crazy. Whoa! Talk about an escape! My heart's still pounding 1,000,000 miles per minute! Luke shouted. The doctor smiled, then collapsed. Doctor? Luke said, running to him. I just ate some of that smart ice cream before I saw you. It hadn't digested, and it's corrupted. And it's corrupting me, Luke said. The doctor said. Luke gasped. Wait, we're with Chloe, right? I'll get her. She might be able to help, he said, running out. He was running out of the TARDIS. He was in a strange, dark room. Hello, Chloe? Luke shouted. He looked around and saw the old TARDIS that Chloe had travelled in. It was dusty, the wood rotten, and the windows smashed. Luke gulped and opened the door. Chloe? 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 Luke? 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 A voice called from seemingly nowhere. Chloe, you're okay. Where are you? I'm here. I can't see anything. All I see is everything. It's so cold, she spoke. Luke raised an eyebrow. Are you in the TARDIS? And then how are you speaking? Look out, Chloe said. Luke was confused, but quickly moved to the left as a laser aimed at him missed. I see, Luke said, pulling out a Glock. He stepped out of the TARDIS and flipped a light switch. It wasn't a small room. It was actually an extremely long room with all sorts of sci-fi gear. And there were grey triangle-shaped aliens wielding laser guns. He was shooting at Luke rapidly. But he was quick. He jumped and shot the alien right in the head. I know there's more of you. Come on out. Suddenly, about 100 triangle aliens came out with space guns. Oh, Luke said. He quickly ran to the TARDIS and closed the door. Take me away, Luke shouted, as the lasers started to melt and burn the door, which doesn't make sense in Doctor Who lore because there's like a shield around it or whatever. Pull the lever, you idiot, Chloe said. Luke ran and pulled the lever, and soon they were gone. Sorry, Brenda sent me something funny. Luke realized something. Wait! He shouted, pulling the lever to rematerialize. He stepped out of the TARDIS back into the room. 7 years after that happened. He stepped into the second TARDIS where there was nothing of the Doctor. There was just a small box on the ground where he once was. Luke picked it up and put it in his pocket. This TARDIS, you may be the great, but you aren't the best. And I have the original. Have fun now, Luke said, pulling the lever and quickly running out. As the second TARDIS vanished, Luke stepped into the original. Chapter 12. TARDIS. So how did you get in here? Luke asked. That space gun they had, they shot me. I was transferred into the TARDIS where I am. For 2,000 years. I have been alone for 2,000 years! You know how boring it was being in a box in a dark room for 2,000 years? Chloe shouted. Luke sighed. I'm sorry, Luke said quietly, a tear forming down his face. He reached to pull the lever before stopping. Wait, isn't there another human that was in this TARDIS? He asked. Yeah, I think so. Well, if we find her, then there'll be a way to make you human again, Luke said. Chloe didn't say anything. Chloe, can you hear me? Luke asked. All right, I can't hear her. This is okay, I'm okay. Time to bring Chloe back, Luke said, pulling the lever. He traveled to right when Chloe landed. Of course I could just save you here, but then there's the time paradox thing, so what I'll do is I'll find your original body and find a way to put you in it. So, what is I can't follow this at all. God, I feel excited. I'm the Doctor now. Yes, let's go, he shouted. Back 2,700 years ago, a TARDIS formed containing Chloe. She stepped out. Whoa, where am I? She said to herself. Suddenly, next to the TARDIS, a second TARDIS started forming. Damn it, too early, Luke shouted, quickly pulling the lever right before the TARDIS could form. She stared at the second TARDIS before a laser was shot right into Chloe's turned back. She screamed and fell to the ground, her body dissolving into orange dusk and flying right into the lamp of the TARDIS. As the last particle went in, the TARDIS shook violently. The glass windows smashed, and orange dust came out of the lamp, this time forming the body of the woman from the Doctor's... This only works if you've seen Doctor Who. This only makes sense if you know that one Doctor Who episode, The Doctor's Wife. If you haven't seen this doesn't make sense at all. She got up and looked. The Doctor's wife looked up and got around. Suddenly, the second TARDIS reappeared and Luke stepped up. Hey, Get in, Luke said. Where am I? The woman asked. Get in, I'll explain in a second, he spoke. The woman stepped into the TARDIS, looking around. This is my prison. Why am I here? She said, turning to Luke, who was holding one of those space guns. Because your prison is where you're meant to be, he said, Jesus Christ. She dissolved and flew up into the roof. Then the shaky thing happened again. Luke screamed, grabbing onto a handlebar. The TARDIS was quickly smashed, trash, parts flying everywhere, and a fire. Then Chloe reappeared. She got up quickly. I'm back! I'm back! I'm really, really back! Did I? I'm back! I'm back! I'm really, really... Okay, that was just... Great, but we're kind of in trouble here, Luke shouted, before a large pillar fell and landed right on Luke. Luke! Chloe screamed. I know how I work, Chloe said to herself. She quickly typed on the TARDIS computer and pulled the lever. As the TARDIS dematerialized, she grabbed hold of the handlebar like Luke did, and just like that, Califormula 2021. It was a peaceful day. The flowers were blooming, the bees were buzzing, and Chloe, Luke and House, it was standing tall. It had only been a couple days, at least in this time. Then, the TARDIS formed high in the sky. It fell through the sky like a bird, and then it happened to be landing in the direction of the house. It crashed through the house roof, destroying the framing. The TARDIS landed on the floor, making a 5-meter-long dent in the ground. The TARDIS landed sideways, meaning everything was on the wall. Inside, Chloe was going through the rubble, trying to find Luke. And there he was, unconscious, but not injured. And he seemed to be different. Chloe pulled him out and looked at his face. It wasn't his. It was another person who looked about 30 years old, had black hair instead of brown, and a totally different face. Luke? Luke coughed twice and opened his eyes. They were green instead of blue. Chloe! Yes, I'm okay. Wait, why is my voice so different? Chloe! Yes, I'm okay! Alright, wait. Why is my voice so different? Luke said. Chloe grabbed a mirror. What? I'm like a new person. I don't understand. I must have... There's no other explanation. You regenerated. Yeah, I think with the Doctor dead, the TARDIS transferred the Time Lord abilities to me. The Doctor is dead? Yeah. I'm sorry. Wait, did we even land in the right place? He said, getting up and opened the door. As he left, he looked around his house. He saw the hole and the huge dent on the floor. Huh, he spoke. Well, the TARDIS could definitely use some redecorating. What do you say, Chloe? Hey, Chloe, he said, looking into the TARDIS. Chloe was sitting on the floor. What's wrong? Oh, my new look. Right. Oh, I'll find a way to bring it back to normal. Just come on out. Look what we did to our house. It's hilarious, Luke said. Chloe zoned out. She was thinking about the 2,700 years of isolation. She had a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, to think about everything. She figured out how to do math properly, thought about strategies for TF2, and ways to make pasta from a dumpster fire efficiently. And now she was back. Human. She stood up and went out the TARDIS. That is weird, feeling gravity change, Chloe said. Isn't it? Luke said. Chloe walked to her old room and shut the door. Luke watched her, then went to his computer. A couple days later, Chloe came back out with a machine. Luke, she called out. Luke came out of his room. What's up? I made a hat-like machine that will make you human again, Chloe said. How'd you do that? Luke said. 2,700, I'm so sick of saying 2,700 years of nothing but your thoughts in a TARDIS system. You learn a little thing or two about engineering, Chloe said. Luke smiled. Will this hurt? He asked quietly. Most definitely. It says must definitely. Have fun, Chloe said. She placed the machine onto Luke's head and flipped the switch. After about 25 straight seconds of pain, Luke felt his chest was lighter. He realized, one heart. He was human again, and his face was back to normal. Chloe walked up to him. How do I look? Luke asked. Chloe smiled for the first time in 2,700 years. What took you so long? She said, jokingly, as the two hugged tight. Well, we found a way to access old stories and found a story of ice cream that makes you smarter. The Doctor ate some and got super greedy and started selling all the ice cream. I realized the story was unfinished and we had to leave, but the Doctor didn't want to leave. I went into another story and grabbed a ton of guns and showed back up to the story. However, it was 30 years later and he was super rich. I went into his office in a tall-ass tower, and he built another TARDIS for me just in case I ever showed up again. He then said bitch, which triggered the corruption, and we ran to the second TARDIS. So the Doctor's dead? Well, he still had some smart ice cream in him, and he was corrupted. Luke said sadly. God fucking damn it. Chloe looked down. Luke reached into his pocket and took out a tiny little box that was left of the Doctor. The next day, Luke was in a workshop room of the house designing a new TARDIS. Of course, he couldn't get rid of the police box, it was iconic, but he had some ideas on how to sharpen it up. He was also designing a new interior. Watching the show, he had always wanted his own design of the TARDIS, and now out of the sheerest dumbest luck, his dream came true. Then he got constructing. With the help of Chloe, they built the new TARDIS with new windows and a sign that said pee-pee box. The new interior was built similar to his old room, with the TARDIS computer looking like an LG Ultra Gear 32GK650F-B 32-inch QHD gaming monitor. The lever was styled like a Minecraft lever, which was connected to a command block. Of course, it didn't actually work, but it looked cool. What do you say? Want to have an adventure? Luke asked. Chloe just glared. I'm kidding. Let's go watch TV, Luke said. They stepped outside the TARDIS, which they had renamed. They called it the Retardist, which stands for Readily Extraterrestrial Traveling as Okay, I'm gonna start that one, huh? They called it the Retardist, which stands for Readily Extraterrestrial Traveling as Rebounding Directly in Space. Why is it called a slur? It's funny, sorta. Chapter 13, A Whole New World. They sat on the couch and started watching 69 News. Breaking news! Right smack in the middle of California, there seems to be a huge whirlpool. It looks like the solids have melted into part of a whirlpool, which is impossible. But there it is. We have no idea what it is. Is it a portal? A hole to the center of the earth? We have no clue. But everyone must stay in their homes, a newsman said. Good morning, I'm blah blah blah. You can see right here there is a big fucking whirlpool, he said, pointing at the whirlpool. Luke turned off the TV and looked at Chloe. Chloe ran to the Dodge Challenger. The new Beetle simply wouldn't do today. Luke hopped into the passenger. Punch that shit! Luke shouted. Chloe swerved onto the road and did a hard turn left towards the middle of California. And indeed, there was a massive whirlpool there. Holy shit. It's one of those things where you gotta see it to believe it, you know? Luke said. Excuse me, please drive away from the whirlpool, a police officer told Chloe. Chloe turned to him slowly. Nah, she said, punching the accelerator. Chloe! Luke shouted. The Challenger zoomed into the giant whirlpool. They saw nothing but black through the windscreen. Chloe? Luke said. Yeah, Luke? Chloe asked. You drove into the whirlpool. Yeah, I did. Suddenly, there was light again. They went flying up and landed with a crash on the road. The Challenger was ruined. Great. My dream car, ruined. And we have no money to buy another one, Luke said angrily. They both got out and saw they were near a giant whirlpool. Doesn't look like anything happened. Oh, we're in a parallel universe, I think. Everything's the same, except slightly different, Chloe said. A police officer walked up to them. Excuse me, you two. Did you just come out of that whirlpool? She asked. Yeah, we did, Chloe was saying before turning to the officer. It was her. A parallel Chloe. You're... Chloe stuttered. Wait a minute, that's impossible. Parallel Chloe said. It's like looking in a mirror. You're me, I'm you. Chloe felt Chloe's hair. The same shampoo of since you were 13. You really are a parallel universe version of me. You're a sexy police officer. Luke said. Oh, this is my buddy, Luke. Is there a version of him in this universe? Chloe asked. Yes, well, his name is Duke, and he's my husband. He's much manlier than him, Chloe remarked. Hey, Luke said. Here, come with me. I'll take you around California. Chloe said. They both agreed and went to the parallel Chloe's car, which was a 1998 Suzuki Esteem, but as a police car. You know, in my universe, the Suzuki Esteem is considered a shit car. Definitely not police car worthy. Well, here, the Esteem's the best money you can buy. It's got 1,200 duck power and can reach up to 4,000 kilometers an hour. Really? Holy shit, that's amazing. Hey, I recognize this street. This is where we live in our universe, Luke said. Here we are, 69 Gay Street, where our mansion is. Wait, where's the mansion? Not my cup of tea. This is just a regular house. 63 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, the usual, Chloe said. I just thought of something funny. They got out of the car and went into the house. Hey, Chloe, Duke called out. Hey, Chloe and Chloe said in unison. What the fuck? Duke exclaimed. Calm down, Duke. These are people from a parallel universe. They came out of a whirlpool. Yeah, and I'm here as well, Luke said. And this is you from a parallel universe, Chloe said. Duke walked up to Luke. Good posture. You seem a little weak, but that's okay. You should take better care of your hair. Maybe grow out your beard, Duke said. Luke looked a little offended. Duke was buff and had a big beard. What do you do for a living, Parallel Me? Probably can't beat a lumberjack, Duke said. I don't have a job. I don't need one. I have a mansion, cool cars, a time machine, you name it. Let me guess. Bitcoin? Duke asked. Not even going to raise an eyebrow over the time machine? Luke asked. Everyone and their mothers have a time machine these days. They were invented in 2001 by President Bill Watterson before he mysteriously died, Luke said. Bill Watterson? The comic guy? How did he die? Luke asked. Nobody knows. His phone line was cut, the front door was busted, and the killer was never found. They say he's still out there, waiting to strike our next president, Donald Trump. It would be a huge shame, Duke said. Huge shame? Trump? Luke asked skeptically. Yeah, of course. He's the one who made laws fairer for Mexicans and fixed the gun laws for good. He's a great man, Duke said. Luke looked at Chloe. Chloe was clearly holding in laughter. Luke looked back at Duke. Anyone still working on the Bill Watterson case? No, it's been marked as unsolvable. The killer covered his tracks amazingly. Not a single thing to identify him, Duke said. Hey, Chloe, don't you have the sonic screwdriver? Luke asked. Chloe looked confused as she pulled it out from her pockets. Take me to the house, he said. Chloe smiled, and Parallel Chloe agreed. I just went to grab some water. Duke stayed at home as the three went to Bill Watterson's house. I would have thought you would have demolished or closed off this place, Chloe said. They arrived at the house where Luke hopped out and went inside. The house still had most of Bill's stuff. Luke scanned the house with a sonic screwdriver, looking for anything. Chloe and Parallel Chloe watched him. Luke went on it for a couple minutes, while Chloe and Parallel Chloe sat on a kill TV. An hour passed and Luke was still scanning. They were playing table tennis. Another hour passed and they were playing Mario Kart. Half a day passed, and the two Chloes went home, while Luke was still scanning the house. How was it? Duke asked. Well, he spent most of his time scanning the house with a sonic screwdriver, and we just messed around. We would have helped, but he only has one screwdriver, Chloe said. Yeah, so what's for dinner? Chloe asked. Duke pulled out a huge tray of nuts and bolts. Oh, my favorite, Chloe said, taking the tray. Chloe stared at the tray with a shocked expression. In my universe, we eat things like pasta, fruits, and meats. Ha! Eating meats, I'd never eat that. That stuff's construction materials, Duke said, laughing. Chloe stared at the tray. Here, Chloe, come with me. We can order some zinc if you don't feel like bolts, Chloe said. Nah, honey, I insist. Eat the bolts, Duke said. Nah, I'll get something with my parallel self tonight, Chloe said, leaving. Chloe left as well. Duke grunted angrily. God damn it, he shouted. As Chloe drove to Bill Watterson's house, Chloe went on her phone. Hey, text from Luke. It says he found something. All right, let's go. First clue in 20 years. Woohoo, she said, swerving left. She noticed Duke's car speeding towards Bill's house. What the hell? Chloe said, flicking on the sirens. After about 2 minutes, the two caught up to Duke's car, which was parked at Bill's house. Oh no, Chloe said, taking out his gun. She ran inside and saw Luke and Duke fighting. Hands up! Both of you! Chloe shouted. What are you gonna do? You can't shoot me! Duke shouted. Try me. He fired right into Duke's hand. Duke screamed in pain and let Luke go. Luke fell to the ground with a slam and quickly ran to parallel Chloe. He did it! He killed Bill Watson! Duke shouted. Duke laughed, pulling out a mask. It was famous singer Beyonce? Wait, what? Why does it say Beyonce? It was Neil Cicerega, wasn't it? When did I change it to Beyonce? Hold on. What? Wait, what? When did I change it from Neil Cicerega? I'm so confused, because it was going to be a Lemon Demon reference. I'm just going to say Neil Cicerega. It was famous singer Neil Cicerega in the flesh, Chloe gasped. In this universe, Neil Cicerega killed Bill Watterson. Chloe reassured herself that this isn't her world. Parallel Chloe fired again and Neil Cicerega instantly died. She fell with an even bigger slam. Isn't that against the law? Chloe asked. To, kill people? What the hell is a law? Parallel Chloe asked. On the drive home, they exchanged stories about their life while Luke just sat there. He played train station trespassing on his phone, which had service despite being in a parallel universe. Chloe and Luke slept in the basement that night. The next day, Luke watched as they towed away his beloved Dodge Challenger. As he watched, he noticed the whirlpool was getting smaller. He rushed to Chloe. The whirlpool is shrinking. Let's get the heck out of here, Luke said. They quickly rushed back and jumped in. There was nothing but blackness for about 10 seconds before flying out of their universe's parallel whirlpool and landing on the nearby road. They weren't too injured, even though the Challenger was smashed beyond repair. This is because everything was way heavier in the other universe. The two watched as the whirlpool shrunk and became smaller than a wheat seed. That's that then. Well, turns out in a parallel universe, my beloved singer treasured by millions is a president murdered disguised as the husband to my sexy parallel self. Interesting, Chloe said. Luke laughed. Wow, my laugh is similar to Duke's. Chapter 14, Stranded. They walked home, which took about 40 minutes, which sucked because Chloe fucking hates walking. When they finally reached home, Luke decided to properly hide the retardus from plain sight. He put it in his workshop and left it locked. Someday I'll use you again, Luke said quietly to the retardus. He started up his Xbox 5232, then realized he has a time machine. He can go to the future and get himself the best Xbox it could ever be. He ran to the retardus. Change your plans. Let's get the best Xbox, he said, unlocking it and pulling the lever. Chloe ran out of her room to the workshop. Try not to die, she yelled as the retardus faded away. Luke typed on a computer, but he had no idea how it worked. Is there a manual to this shit? He asked. He looked around and found a manual in one of the rooms. He studied it and read it through and through. Alright, I got it, he said, walking to the computer and typing away. He then re-materialized in an Xbox factory. He opened the door and stepped out. Whoa, what year is this? Luke asked, picking up a finished Xbox. It read Xbox 69 420 Pro, Cum Edition. Whoa, I bet this could run solitaire way faster. Let's get out of here, he spoke. He went to walk out of the retardus. Before a gun was aimed at him. Stop right there, a man shouted. Luke slowly put his hands up while holding the Xbox 69 Pro Cum Edition, which was really hard because it was heavy. Alright, put down the Xbox 69 420 Pro Cum Edition and come to me with those hands high, the man said, still wielding the gun. Luke slowly put down the Xbox 69 420 Pro Cum Edition. As he did, he noticed he still had that Glock from the time with the doctor. He got an idea. He was going to quickly pull it out and shoot him, then quickly make his escape. I'm not here as security. I'm here to ask you for a favor. Luke sucked these nuts, the man said. Luke stopped. How do you know my name? And I made you say suck these nuts. Who doesn't know your name? You're the most wanted criminal in the entire world. Wait, what year is it? It's 3404. I suppose you would know, considering you're a time traveler who stole an extremely expensive piece of tech that you probably don't even know how to run, the man said. You mean the time machine or the Xbox? Luke said. The man glared at him. Look, what do you want from me? My name is Fred de Fazbear. I need you to give the doctor to me, Fred said. What? Luke asked, confused. When the doctor was corrupted, he should have taken the form of a small box. I need you to give it to me, Fred said, turning off the safety of his gun. What are you gonna do? Shoot me? You know you can't get into the retardus, not without the key. I've met brave men like you, willing to sacrifice their life to protect the doctor. Well, I don't know what you're gonna do with him, and I'm not gonna stick around to find out. Why am I talking to you? You obviously have the key. I'm just going to shoot you, Fred said, firing his gun. The bullet flew through the room and bounced off thin air. What? Fred shouted, scared. Yeah, in case you didn't know, the retardus has a shield. And since I'm standing within 2 Peters distance, I don't get affected by that sort of stuff. So yeah, the Dr. Box thing can wait another day, Luke said, putting his hands down and reaching for his gun. He pointed it straight at Fred. No, you can't hurt me. The shield will block things from the inside, too. I'm sure of it, Fred said in panic. You want to find out? Because I don't know. Oh, wait, I do. Because I read the manual, Luke said, holding up the TARDIS manual. Fred screamed and ran away. Ha ha! Alright, Xbox 69 420 Pro Come Edition for me, Luke said, turning to the retardus and opening the door. Wait, what the fuck? Luke shouted. It was a regular police box. Luke looked up to the sign. It said police box instead of pee-pee box, and the windows were back to its regular shading. Oh, no! Luke shouted. Then he heard it, the sound of dematerialization. The retardus was still here. It had just been moved somewhere else and replaced with a regular police box while Luke's back was turned. He ran to the back door and saw his retardus. You bastards! Luke screamed as the retardus was gone. Luke was stranded in 3404, the most wanted fugitive in the world, with no way of getting home. He was, to put it simply, severely fucked. He walked back in the factory with the police box and the Xbox 69 420 Pro Come Edition. Oh god, why did I come here? Luke asked himself quietly. He walked to the factory's car park and started following the road to the nearby town. As he arrives at the town, walking sadly across the street, he received tons of gasps and wide-eyed looks from the civilians. 5 minutes went by before the FBI and CIA arrived with police helicopters and police cars and monkeys. Luke kneeled with his hands up. There was no use fighting. He was driven to court, where a judge looked through his files. Hello, everybody. I'm Judge Judy. Along with Dr. House, I'm another character that was added despite the writer not knowing anything about my show. Anyway, we have Lucas H. Suck These Nuts. The middle name isn't spelled out, though. What's the H stand for? Judge Judy asked. Luke didn't say anything. Was Dr. House even in the book? I don't think he was. Alright then. You are the most wanted criminal right next to Osama bin Laden and Chloe Suck These Nuts. Oh, that's odd. You two are married? Judge Judy said. Luke looked up, surprised. Why was Chloe the world's most wanted list along with Osama bin Laden? Something wasn't right. In the future, Chloe couldn't have become a war criminal. There was no way. It wasn't possible. Also, how were they married? No, this had to be a complete separate timeline. This was absolutely unthinkable, and I definitely didn't change this. Anyway, your crimes couldn't fit on one page. In fact, it couldn't fit 10 pages. So we made the font 11 instead of 356. Let's see, you're being charged with mass murder, multiple presidential assassinations, one of them was in your dream and somehow happened in real life, property damage, cannibalism, underage drinking, treating rodents like slaves, shoplifting abandoned premises, squatting, destroying a refugee camp with a falling house, damaging a police station, tarjacking, tax evasion, world domination, possession of lethal weapons, possession of space weapons, unlicensed construction of machinery, violating the second law of thermodynamics, damaging a school, breaking and entering, child kidnapping, jumping, accessing the real-life main menu, wearing clothing with hate symbols, escaping the simulation, photographing a dead body, destroying several homes to make room for a huge mansion, destroying a meat factory, buying and possessing explosions, blowing up a nursing home, stealing a time machine, universe jumping, stealing modified ice cream, landing spacecraft horribly, stealing an Xbox 69 420 Pro Cum Edition, drink driving, overthrowing the government, making a JoJo reference, impersonation, in possession with intent to distribute, public indecency, and overall bullshit. The people muttered to themselves. This is just silly, she spoke. I know we got rid of the death penalty, but come on. Luke looked into her eyes as Judge Judy closed her eyes and made her final decision. I sentence you to 10 years watching that fuck-ass penis scene in The Boys, she spoke, and the people all gasped and murmured in shock. Are you kidding me? Please, no! I've already seen it 3 times, Luke shouted. Luke, speak up one more time and I'll hold you in contempt. I hold myself in contempt, Luke screamed as Jim Carrey and the crowd clapped. Just before Judge Judy could bang the gavel, a strange light appeared. Luke looked up as a strange thing formed. It was a box! A blue box! The retardus! It had pee-pee box and everything. Luke smiled. Out stepped a Chloe with messy hair and bloody clothes. The retardus wasn't in too good shape either. Luke, she spoke. Hey, Chloe. Listen, I'm not your Chloe. Your Chloe's back in 2021 where you belong. Get in, she spoke. Luke got up and started walking towards the retardus. A police officer stood up and ran to him, but Chloe vaporized him. Luke stepped into the retardus as it quickly faded away. I see you're Luke redecorated. I don't like it. Actually, my Luke died long ago. I redecorated myself. Oh, sorry. Alright, we're here. Get out, Chloe said. Luke shook her hands and started to walk out. Oh yeah, one last thing, Chloe said. Luke looked back and gasped. She was holding the Xbox 69 420 Pro Cum Edition. Just so you don't go empty-handed. I knew how much it meant to you, she spoke. Luke took the Xbox 69 420 Pro Cum Edition. He smiled. Thanks, Luke said. Well, I asked you not to die, and you didn't. So yeah, Chloe said. Luke hugged her and left the retardus. He was in a field where a second retardus stood. Sorry for leaving you, retardus, Luke said. Chloe's retardus started fading away, and Luke watched. He waved as it disappeared. Luke reached for the key and unlocked his one and stepped inside. Hello, Luke. We meet again, Fred DeFazbas said, holding another gun. What do you want from me? Luke screamed. I said it before, I'll say it again. I want the box you got when the doctor corrupted, Fred said. Why? Wouldn't you like to know? You know, you left that manual behind and I read it. The shields don't imply in the retardus interior. One shot and you're dead. Now hand over the box. Alright, fine. You want the box? Luke said, pulling it out of his pockets. Fred stared at it. Go get it, Luke said before throwing it at the wall, where it slid underneath the retardus floor. Fred acted quickly and ran towards it. Without a gun pointed to his head, Luke was free to run to the console. He pressed a button which activated a security protocol. The space underneath the retardus floor was shielded, caging the box. You little shit! Fred screamed, running up the retardus walls trying to climb up. Fred, you say you read the retardus manual, but you clearly skipped most of it, Luke said with a smirk. Yeah, so what? Fred said, climbing up. You missed the part about the retardus's true potential. You know, this huge box, it must do something cool, and it does, Luke said, before pressing a big button. He quickly ran out and locked the doors before the retardus slowly morphed into a huge transformer-like robot. Fred screamed as he was crushed by several more robot parts moving at once. The transformer was huge, about 50 feet tall, bigger on the inside. I love that, Luke said, unlocking a secret compartment on the retardus's left shoe. Inside was a button, which Luke pressed. It started transforming back into the pee-pee box. Luke walked inside and saw the massive blood stain. Don't worry, Doctor. You're safe with me, Luke said. The box he was holding vibrated for a second. The doctor was in there, alive. There was no doubting anymore. The retardus appeared into the workshop of Luke's house. Luke stepped out holding the 69 420 Pro Com Edition Xbox. For some reason, he couldn't help but think of an alternate timeline involving flesh avatars or something, but he decided to ignore it. Chloe, guess what I got? Luke shouted. Chloe ran out. Bruh, Chloe shouted. He hooked up his Xbox 69 420 Com Edition and proceeded to play solitaire at 1,600 FPS. Fuck yeah! Luke shouted. He played for about 2 hours before passing out on flaming hot Cheetos and sugar-free Mountain Dew. Chapter 15. A Night to Remember. This will be in part 3. Bye.